this song. This is a song about something.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. I am here with Thomas Gilson from the Cheese Melt. How you doing?
Good, James.
Good.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We met at Willing Arts Fest, and you didn't have a beard then, I don't think.
No, I've had a beard.
Oh, you did?
I've had a beard for years.
Oh, okay. I met so many people that weekend.
Sure.
It was a blur, but I'm glad that we were able to stay in touch enough to be able to get here today. Mm-hmm. The Cheese Melt is one of those places that, as I was saying when we were setting up, that I've never had a chance to eat at because I think you used to be downtown a lot more, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you were downtown, I don't get downtown during the day enough, but a lot of my friends went on and on and on about the Cheese Melt and how much they love it. So your reputation definitely precedes you.
Good, thanks.
So how long have you been in, how long has the Cheese Melt food truck been a business?
We started in 2014, the summer. We started running this little trailer that I had to stand behind and put it underneath a 10x10 tent. That summer, we got started. The Arts Fest that year was actually our very first event that we had ever done, and that was when it was over behind the State Capitol building.
Yes, I remember that, yeah.
We were over there, and we did really well. We ended up running out of butter. I was using all kinds of backup bread that day because we ran out of the standard bread that I was planning to use. And then I kept it going as long as I could, but once you're out of butter, you can't really make a grilled cheese sandwich.
That's right.
So that was our first event, and we just did events that whole summer, 2014. So this right now is the end of our fourth year, and we have upgraded to a trailer. Our second year, we upgraded to a trailer, like a one that I could get inside.
Right.
And it is what we still use today. It is wrapped. It's got our logo and design and stuff all over it, so it looks a lot more appealing to the eye. The first year I had that trailer, it was just solid white, and that was when I was mainly downtown Wheeling.
Right.
I sat down there on the corner of 14th and Main.
Now, I think I did see it. Yeah, it's really actually beautifully wrapped. I saw
Right.
it used to be kind of down there across from River City for a while.
Yeah, 14th and Main's like
Yeah.
catty corner from River City.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
across from the intermodal.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing it there. Yeah, it's really cool looking trailer. Actually,
Yeah,
it's got
thanks.
got good graphics. So that first event, how long had between coming up with the idea, or how long had you been thinking about doing something like that before you actually did your first event?
Okay. Well, my wife and I got married in June 2013, and that September we went out to Telluride, Colorado for a Blues and Brews festival, and we stayed in a house that was like 3 or 4 blocks from the show. I mean, it's a really small town. Like,
Yeah.
we were on one end of town and the show was on the other, so we were walking back and forth each day. And there was a lady who was set up along the street on the way to the show, who had a little cart similar to what I had started out with, 4 years ago, selling grilled cheese sandwiches. So that's where the idea was really where it hit me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, grilled cheese sandwich, that's really cool. Like, I had never seen that as street food or food. I mean, there's no food trucks in Wheeling now,
Right.
other than me and Outdeal Provisions over in Bridgeport. So it wasn't like something that I had even really thought about. I just knew I didn't want to work construction anymore. I was doing 80-hour weeks and all that stuff, and it's taxing, and I didn't want to do it. I knew I didn't want to do it forever, and I like to cook and whatnot. So I guess that's where the idea first came to me, to do grilled cheese. We came back home, and we just started talking about it. And she's always been supportive, my wife Trisha, and just put things down on paper. That was in September. So I guess that was where the idea was conceived, and by the time it was actually put to practice, well, I bought the trailer off a guy from Columbus in probably early 2014. It was still cold.
Yeah.
It was still kind of cold. It wasn't quite ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I couldn't use it. I bought it and it sat for several months. I'd clean it and paint it and all that kind of stuff before we put it to use. But I think the Arts Fest is in June.
Right.
So probably about a 6-month period between conception and implementation, if you want to call it.
So they gave you a chance to kind of work on your plan and figure out how the ins and outs of how you wanted to do everything.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I had a trailer. I knew what I wanted to make. It was just a matter of finding the supplies. Yeah. And, I was buying retail for that first event. I mean, I didn't get anything wholesale or anything like that. I just bought everything from the grocery stores.
Right.
And we had no idea what the hell we were doing. So we went and we sold, I'm going to say maybe close to 60 sandwiches.
Nice.
60 to 70 sandwiches or so that day, which, again, was more than I had prepared for.
Sure.
Or more than I thought I was going to sell.
Yeah.
So, but not having any competition helps as well. I think, not Generations, but River City was next to us. But we were the only 2 food people there that first event.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, that definitely helps a lot.
Yeah, that helps.
But then your sandwich must have been very good because, like I said, I've heard so many people talk about how good your sandwiches were. Now, that first event, was it just a standard grilled cheese, or did you have a...
Oh, no, we had all the fancy stuff like we do now.
Oh, so you had already come up with the menu and everything?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I grabbed some ingredients. I had bacon. I think I had ham for that event. I didn't have nearly the size of a menu that I have now. I had like maybe 4 or 5 options for that day. Actually, I think it was mainly build your own. I started out, it was just like build your own. So I had like 4 cheese options. I had like 2 or 3 meat options, and then I had maybe 5 veggie options. And I just gave prices for like, okay, if you want two meats and 2 veggies or whatever, it costs this much. Or if you want 1 meat, it costs this much. Whatever. It's similar to my build your own menu that we still use.
Right.
But that was pretty much all I did.
So I guess for anybody that's mistaken, that it's really not just a grilled cheese sandwich. That's why you call it the cheese melt, because somebody was explaining this to me actually, that they're actually the sandwich or melts are basically a sandwich with melted cheese. So it's meats and it's more. I'm sure you can get a grilled cheese sandwich, but
correct.
But they're pretty hearty sandwiches from what people tell me.
Yeah, they are. They're big sandwiches. It's like the framework of a grilled cheese. So you butter 2 slices of bread, you throw that on a grill, and then you put cheese on. And then what we do, we just have a bunch of toppings that we put in between the cheese.
Yeah.
So a classic grilled cheese will be what you're referring to. What you would consider, what you would think of as from your childhood,
right.
A grilled cheese sandwich. The difference is we like to consider it to be grown up grilled cheese as opposed to just grilled cheese, because we use thick cut sourdough bread. So we use a bigger bread and a higher quality bread than
Wonder
bread, right?
Yeah.
And we don't use Kraft singles. We use Walnut Creek brand cheese, which is like an Amish cheese. It comes from Amish country. We get that through Valley Cheese down at Center Market. So it's a higher end cheese. Same with the meats. They come from Walnut Creek as well. And we use 4 slices minimum per sandwich.
Nice.
So there's not a lack of cheese on it either. And even the classic has a lot of cheese. Like, it's a nice gooey grilled cheese sandwich that is also filling in and of itself. Don't even need the toppings. Add the toppings and you've got a meal.
It does sound like the quality has been something that you've focused on all along, and that's has a lot to do with the success, you think? People, they want to come back for it. They're like, oh, that was so good. I can't wait till I get a chance to have another one.
Yeah. I guess it's not so much surprising to me. It's surprising to the customer. When they eat one of my sandwiches, I always get, man, I can't believe how good that was. Man, that was a good sandwich. And it was, you get what you pay for. Right. I get that a lot. 'Cause sometimes people think my sandwiches are expensive. Right. But I mean, in reality, they're not. I probably could, if I was in a bigger city, I could be charging a heck of a lot more than what I do for what you get. You get a bag of chips and a pickle with every sandwich as well, so you get a little lunch box.
Yeah.
But the sandwiches are filling, and they're high quality ingredients, and delicious.
That's what everybody says, right?
They do.
So you're explaining to me the location where you're at now is up the Highlands. If you want to just say for the listeners, so they know where to find you.
Sure. We during the summer months here, we run around Wheeling, going to different places. We had 8 different locations in the summer, but currently, because of wintertime, we are stationary. We're not moving around. Weather doesn't really permit a mobile food business.
Yeah.
Not here anyways, maybe in Florida or San Diego.
Right.
But not here. And so we are stationary currently Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that's new. Evening hours are new.
Oh, nice.
We never had evening hours in the summer.
Yeah.
Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Valley Harley-Davidson shop that is currently under construction at the Highlands. So it's where the Cracker Barrel used to be, if you're not sure where the Harley is now. But it is. The signs are up. You can find the Harley-Davidson shop with no problem at the Highlands now. Yeah. They got the big signs up and everything. But if you're not familiar with it, it's back on Fort Henry Road where Cracker Barrel used to be. We're set up right there in the parking lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Anybody that listens to more than a few of these podcasts know that I'm a big motorcycle guy. So,
cool.
I saw that the Harley shop was moving up there, which is a great location for them as well.
Oh, yeah.
So are you surprised at the success, or is it kind of what you expected? Is this where you thought you would be 4 years in?
Man, that's a good question. I've never really looked at it that way. I'm still here.
Yeah.
That's a testament to success by itself, is the fact that we're still going.
Sure, absolutely.
It hasn't been easy. Anybody out there that has ever started their own business knows that it takes you a few years to actually start being able to make money. And if you want, in all honesty, we're really not even there yet. We're still struggling to make enough money to support our lifestyle. My wife still works. Actually, she just went back and got a job here recently because the winter months are slow.
Right,
It's a food truck. You got to stand outside and order your food. So it slows down in the wintertime, and we're aware of that. In the past couple of winters, I've gone back to work, and the trailer's been closed altogether. So this is the first year where we stayed operational. So that's actually a step in the right direction because now we're expanding our hours. I actually have an employee that works for me. So
nice.
I sacrificed part of my income in order to help the business grow by hiring somebody else, because if I'm going to try to grow my business, I can't do that while I'm making sandwiches all day.
Right.
I have to step out of the trailer and do other things.
Sure.
Like I've been on Steve Novotny's show a couple times in the past 2 months, and networking, sending emails to companies in Cannonsburg in different areas trying to generate catering jobs or new locations for next year. You know what I mean? Talking.
So catering is one of a service that you offer?
Absolutely, catering.
So for anybody that's interested, what kind of menu items do you have for your catering business?
Catering, we can do whatever you want. You can pick from our regular. Now we don't offer a whole menu for our caterer. At the event, now the person beforehand can pick whatever they want.
Right.
Grilled cheese wise. It's still the same. We don't deviate from. We're not going to come.
You're not doing fried chicken or anything.
Right. We're not doing fried chicken or prime rib or anything like that. We're doing grilled cheese sandwiches. So it's more of an informal type of catering. We will bring the truck to the location and serve from the truck. So that's kind of a new concept. It's not a new concept where there's food trucks, but in this area where we don't have food trucks, it's kind of different.
Yeah.
It's a new experience. It's something different. We haven't done any weddings yet, but we would be.
I think that'd be perfect for a wedding.
It would be for a more informal wedding.
Yeah.
If you're trying to feed 300 people all at once at a sit-down meal to make sure that you're on time, because we've gone through the wedding thing and how structured they can be sometimes, it's not a good idea for that. But if you wanted to have us come in the evening or like during the reception or close to the end of the reception, so that all your drunk guests can get something in their belly real fast before they hit the road or go to the hotel or whatever. You know what I mean? You could have us. Come
just
and
a nice added
like
touch
that.
for the guest.
Absolutely.
Well, I had heard about a wedding that one of my friends went to that they wanted to do something cool and different, so they served breakfast food at the wedding reception.
That's cool.
And I could see somebody just for the sake of having something unique at their wedding, having the meal be your food. Hey, we're gonna have grilled cheese, and of course it's not just grilled cheese, but I could see them telling all their friends and family, and people would go back the next day and say, "Yeah, I was at this neat wedding."
Yep.
So when you get at that age where all your friends are getting married, do you want the chicken or the fish or the steak and
the green beans?
The green beans. It's always green beans.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Scalloped potatoes.
And it seems like when people are planning their weddings, they want to have something that stands out that people talk about the next day. So if you're planning a wedding and you want something unique that all your friends are going to talk about, hit Thomas up because I think that's plus. They walk away with a unique story, but also like great food and yeah.
Nobody's ever disappointed with our sandwiches. I mean, honestly,
That's
we have
awesome.
over 130 plus 5-star reviews on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and don't think just wedding either. Wedding's a pretty large event, but we're already booked for some graduation parties coming up this summer.
Yeah.
You know, there's a little smaller and easier for us to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, graduation parties. We've done corporate lunches, corporate parties. We did one up at Console Energy where we fed 314 people in 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So understand there is a time because we make everything fresh.
Yeah.
We're not the kind of caterer that comes in and has everything in chafing dishes.
Right.
And puts it over a sterno and keeps it warm for the next 2 hours. You know, that's not what we're doing. We're making literally every single sandwich on site, fresh for you, for your customer, or for your party goers.
Wow. So it's I think that's even better because that's a fresh plus just the experience of having people watch it being made and being able to pick out your ingredients and that custom service, and you can get 300 people in a couple hours like that.
You have to have a specific menu. We did one cheese only. We did Munster cheese. We did classics. We did Munster with bacon or Munster with bacon and apple. So if you notice, it's one cheese, it's one meat, and it's one additional topping. It could be a fruit or a veggie. It could be whatever. But in order to accommodate that many people in that short span of time, that has to be
keep it somewhat simple.
Yeah, and they were still good, and nobody complained. We also had tomato soup for that event as well.
Nice.
So I made 40 quarts of tomato soup for that, and they only ate half of it. And then the girls that hired me to come, they took another 20 and they ate it for lunch the next week.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I
was like, man, you're gonna have trouble getting through all that. Just the two of you. But they did.
So do you bring on extra people when you do the catering? Or?
It was me, my wife, and the one girl that's working for me now. Just the three of us. I do the cooking. My wife does the orders. When it's easy like that, it's pretty much just like, okay. And when you come to the win, you get what you get it when you order it.
Right.
Not like at festivals and stuff where we have a larger menu. You kind of order and then you go and wait.
So with the limited menus, you can make so many with just cheese.
I put all the Munster cheeses and all the sandwiches on the grill at once. I got a 3-foot grill. I can fit like 15 sandwiches.
Oh, okay.
So that's 30 slices of bread.
Sure.
All at one time. And then I just load up all the cheese. And then if I have the bacon over here, it's already hot. Yeah. And I have my apples already chopped up. So it's like, do you want a classic or do you want bacon or bacon and apples? So it's like, if you want bacon, okay, bam, bacon on, flip. Damn out the window. You know, it's really we do it fast that way. That's the only way you can do it though. Yeah. That many people in that short a period of time.
And I guess that's one of those things when that's what you do for a living and it's you figure out better and better and quicker ways to do everything. And,
absolutely.
The whole food truck thing has been really hot. Probably the last 5 years, maybe.
I'd say more.
Maybe more than
in bigger cities. Yeah, absolutely. It's nothing. It's not really that new anymore, but it's extremely popular.
Yeah, especially right now. I think it's really popular. You mentioned Ideal Provisions. Dino Barrett, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's actually from Barton, where I'm from.
Okay.
And I see his truck everywhere, and he seems like he's doing really well. Now I went to school in Athens. So that's still down there. I think the burrito buggy and there was the bagel buggy.
Okay.
And the burrito buggy was a trailer, but the bagel buggy was basically a cart with a grill and two iconic Athens things. And I think there were others that came and went, but the burrito buggy and the bagel buggy were the ones that you get your bagel in the morning and after the bar in the evening you get a huge burrito.
Nice.
And so that was my first introduction to it, and there was always a line at those things. And I remember thinking back then that they're making a lot of money out of this, but then I thought, man, that looks like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely a lot of work.
Now, is it cold up there in the winter?
Right now, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my trailer stays warm on the inside.
On the inside, yeah. That's what I was wondering if on the inside.
I mean, I got to run two little spacer heaters pointed at the water lines. One pointed at my tankless water heater, and one pointed at my water tank.
Oh, okay. Keep it for freezing.
To keep those water lines from freezing. But when we're operational, the grill's going.
Yeah.
It keeps it hot, actually, in there. I have to sometimes open the windows to let some of the heat out.
When I was a kid, I'm probably 10 years old, my dad bought 2 concession trailers from this man named Lee Nichols in New Athens. So we sold cotton candy, popcorn, candy apples. So I guess I just actually just now made the connection that we were in, I guess we consider it more of a concession business, of course, and but like the early days of the Italian festival. So I kind of know what that's like to sit there in the trailer, and of course the Italian festival back in the 80s was the only thing going on that weekend. And I remember me and my brother would have to take money out of the register and like put it in a bag and hide it away. Right. And but that idea that a little outfit like that could actually do pretty well, and if you had stuff that people liked, but I also know the hard work, because on Thursdays they'd send me to pick up the apples at the distributors, and we'd have to wipe them all down so that they wouldn't have any humidity on them, so you could do the candy apples, which you had to make in the morning before you left, and get home late at night and set up the trailer and all that stuff. And I kind of, when you say it's a lot of hard work, I get it, because the minute I was old enough to not have to do it anymore, I
you
quit.
were out.
But now that I'm older, and I think maybe I'd rather do that for a weekend, and
right.
And it's maybe better than sitting in an office all week, or something, I don't know. I never actually knew how much money we actually made for a 14-year-old. It looked like a lot.
Sure.
But then not every weekend there was an Italian festival.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, our summers, our day-to-day stuff, our lunch runs that we average a few $100 a day essentially. Yeah. And you get to a weekend event and you're talking maybe $4,000 or $5,000. Yeah. For the right event. Yeah. Some events only a couple grand. I mean, sure. And you never know. Weather dictates a lot. The turnout for the specific event could be good one year and crappy the next. You never know. And there's a lot of overhead that a lot of people don't understand too. Like, it costs money to go set up an event. Sure. It's not free.
Licenses.
Yeah. Well, that stuff. Yeah, you have to have that regardless to operate in town. Yeah. Health department permits and your business license and insurance, and there's a lot of overhead. I mean, it's a business. Yeah. It's not a hobby. Yeah. I'm not collecting coins. It's a business. Sure. There's a lot of overhead, and there's labor cost, and there's time cost, and there's a lot of prep work. Yeah. Just to do an event on the weekend, I got to stay up till 1:00 the night before buttering bread so that I've got 200 sandwiches buttered. That's 400 slices of bread. Yeah, that I got to butter the night before to make sure that we're not falling behind. Sure. Come busy time.
You don't want people waiting in line going, I'll just go someplace else. It's taking too long.
And it happens because we still get backed up, and I can only cook them so fast. Right. And when I'm doing these crazy menus with all different options, it slows us down. So that's one thing I'm trying to figure out, how to do it faster and more efficiently without eliminating everything off the menu.
Sure.
So learning process.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the business, particularly one of those festivals where it could be a high revenue weekend. You look at the clouds and go, God, I hope it doesn't rain. Yeah.
Sternwheel Festival in Wheeling is notorious for bad weather. Although this year the Italian Fest got washed out. Yeah. We don't do that one. We haven't done the Sternwheel since our first year, but Italian Fest was a washout. I'm sure. I felt bad for those vendors down there because I bet you a lot of them probably lost their butt. Yeah. I mean, you got all that inventory you stock, expecting to do, all this volume for the weekend, and then you get bad weather and nobody shows up. Yeah. And it's like, wow, I just spent $1,000 on food. And,
you're stuck with it, right?
What am I gonna do? And if it's those like me, it's no big deal because I'm going back at it Tuesday anyways, right, for my regular weekly route. But these guys are traveling from event to event, state to state. Hopefully it keeps. Yeah. If not, it's a loss.
And they might not be operational till the next weekend. So,
exactly. Or maybe longer. Yeah. So
it's definitely an interesting business, and I know that when we did it, we did mostly smaller fire department festivals and church festivals in the area. Sure. But every now and then we go to the bigger festivals, and we'd actually meet the other vendors and. Yeah, it was a unique people, unique lifestyle. The ones that travel around the country, particularly, that's a lot of hard work.
That's a different. That's like a different thing from what we're doing.
Thing, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're we're not traveling state to state. I mean, if you want to consider Ohio or Pennsylvania going state to state, that's just the tri-state
area. But you're more of a
area.
local food truck, yeah.
Exactly. We're here for a local presence, not a carnival presence. We're not coming in town and leaving the next week.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a couple of days. So I'm building my brand and my reputation with the folks of Wheeling and St. Clairsville and, Bridgeport, wherever.
So what are some of the other locations in the summer where people can find you?
We bounced all over the area. We were in Martins Ferry. We were in Bethlehem at the Harley Davidson shop there. That's how we have that relationship with Harley. We've been stopping there for the past 2 years at their shop. So Elm Grove, downtown Wheeling once a week. Where else? Man, I'm forgetting something, I'm sure.
So do you...
Pretty much all the little areas, except for Woodsdale. I don't have a presence in Woodsdale. I would like to get somewhere in Woodsdale.
Woodsdale, listen up.
Anybody out there in Woodsdale has a place for me to set up that has good visibility.
Right.
That would be excellent. Let me know.
Because that is the key, right? To be somewhere where people can find you
For
easily.
the most part, yeah.
Now, so do you try to be in the... is it a rotation where every Monday you try to be here, every Tuesday, so that people...
Yeah, we were doing an every other week schedule. So we had 8 places each month.
Oh, nice.
So there would be like... Tuesday we were doing Main Street Bank in Center Wheeling area. And then we picked up late in the season somewhere out in Lansing. We're not going to go back there, though, because there wasn't enough traffic out there. So Main Street Bank was always a good location. We were there every Tuesday. But Wednesday we bounced from, we were in Elm Grove one week, and then we were in Martins Ferry the next week, and then back to Elm Grove, and then back to Martins Ferry. So just back and forth, between the 2 locations.
Well, that's kind of neat, and I imagine for the customers, something that they can look forward to.
Right.
They go, it kind of builds a certain built-in exclusivity where you can't drive by it every day and go, I'll get one tomorrow. You're like, if I don't get one today,
gotta wait 2 weeks.
Gotta wait 2 weeks. I think that's a great business model.
Yeah, we stayed stationary our first year with the big trailer down there on 14th and Main every day, Monday through Friday, from lunch only. And then I think on Fridays I was running evening hours if I wasn't in an event.
Sure.
Because in the summer, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a lot of times we're already gone. It's doing something else, so we're not actually open for lunch on Fridays a lot of time in the summer. But that didn't work out, being stationary every day.
Yeah.
People were doing exactly what you said. Yeah. Well, I don't need it. I don't get it today. Maybe I'll get it tomorrow, or maybe I'll get it next week.
Right.
And unfortunately, there just isn't enough traffic in downtown Wheeling to keep me busy. I mean, I was having days where I would do like $20 in sales. Yeah. And you can't make one good day. One good day doesn't make up for 5 bad days.
Sure.
So that's when I started. After that season of doing that, I decided, I'm going to have to start moving around. And it started with Oric. Oric had us come out once a month, and we went to them, and it was going really well. So then I started just contacting places in the area. Hey, can I set up over there?
Yeah.
And people told me no.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of no's before I got a couple yeses.
Right.
And I just took what I could, where I could. Troy Group out on GCMP was one of the first places. I started going out to them and feeding, I would just set up. They weren't paying for it. Their staff was able to come out and eat during, from 11 to 2 or whatever. And that worked for a little while, and then they stopped coming, And so I started finding more places. And the more visible I was to people in a surrounding area, whether they be in the office building, and they could see me out of their window, or if there was just a lot of traffic on the street, the better I did. And that's where I found, I need more places. I need from here to here to here to here. I don't want to be in one place too long because people get bored. Yeah. Or they go somewhere else because they know I'm going to be there. Right. So it's kind of taking away the supply and therefore increasing the demand when I am there. Right. And it worked out really well.
And that's a great way to look at a business where you try something and you see how it works, and it sounds like you're very aware of what's going on and trying new things to try to increase the business. And so in addition to knowing that like having good quality food is important, you also sounds like you're very thoughtful as to like, well, what's the next thing that we can do to increase business and to make it stronger and better. And you were saying earlier that maybe even a second truck,
that's
somewhere along the line.
Yeah, man, that's my game plan here. I mean, Being up at the Highlands, we're in a high traffic area. So my thought process here is, I know we stayed stationary down on the corner in downtown, and it didn't work very well. And you might be able to take that logic and say, well, why would you think you would be better at the Highlands staying in the same place every day? Well, that is because there's a whole lot more people up there, way more people working up there than there are downtown Wheeling.
Right.
And they're eating out every day. Right. And there's a lot more places for them to eat out. So you're going to divide, that one person might eat at the Cheese Melt one day, they're going to eat at McDonald's the next day, they're going to eat at Longhorns the day after that or whatever, but I'll be part of the regular rotation.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people for that. So I think we'll be safe. I think we'll be good once they know we're there.
Yeah.
Plus having extended hours with dinner, we're serving a larger group of people, so the folks that get off work that don't have time or don't work up at the Highlands, they can still come up when they're doing their shopping or whatever and come and grab dinner off of us, because we'll actually be open, whereas we haven't been open before during those hours.
And I think when you were downtown and in the area, you were moving around for the diversity, but up there, that's kind of the place where people go to eat a lot of times. We'll go up here and find out what to eat. And there's a McDonald's and a Wendy's, but there's not a lot of fast food up there. Is there not?
Not really. Most of them are sit-down restaurants.
So places where you can, especially for, like you said, the workers up there.
Take a half-hour lunch breaks.
Yeah. And Wheeling traffic, the other thing for me, like I said, I drove by the car when it was the trailer when it was down there across from River City a bunch of times. But I'm in my car on my motorcycle and to find a place to park, so you have to have that walking traffic.
Yep.
But up there, and the people downtown that work downtown are pretty much the people that come on the regular basis. But there are people that go to the Highlands once a week, once a month, once a year.
Yep.
Every couple so often. And I always think of Permanis. People love to go up to Pittsburgh, and it was that special thing that when you're up there, you can get it. And I think for people that in Wheeling, they might go up to the Highlands a lot, but where I live up near St. Clairsville, we go to the mall a lot. So for us, the restaurants and the attractions up the Highlands are a little bit more of a treat for us. And so I could see the people from my area, when they go up to the Highlands, loving to go up there, because it's not someplace that they go every week. I think it sounds like you'll do very well up there.
Yeah, I'm kind of betting on it.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, business is a gamble. You make a decision and you stick with it, and if it works, it works. If not, you gather your troops and do it again.
Yeah,
do something else.
Figure out plan B, right?
Yeah, so that's the goal. Be stationary there. Have a couple, have a crew, probably about 4 people working for me.
Nice.
And then my goal is to go and get a second unit. I want to build this truck out, the drivable, like UPS truck.
Right.
So we have that actual food truck presence, not a trailer like we do now. Trailer was affordable. 3 years ago. Truck wasn't.
Yeah.
So now we're a little bit better off. We have data built up, and we can say, okay, our sales are projected to do this, this year with this one unit. If I get a second unit, I want to focus on caterings where I can go serve 300 people in 2.5 hours and make what I make in 3 days at a festival downtown. You know what I mean? In 2.5 hours, I could do that in.
That's perfect.
So that's my focus right now, is to expand. If I'm not expanding, I might as well go get a job.
Right. Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? The goal here is to expand, make more money, hire more people, sell more sandwiches, and just keep growing and growing. And there's only one way to do that.
That's right. And I'll tell you, there's a philosophy from the Romans that if you're not growing, nothing stays the same. So either you're growing or you're retracting.
Exactly.
So you're always looking towards growth, and of course to who doesn't want a comfortable, better lifestyle, and that's how you do it. Because I imagine that if you've probably done it yourself, that when you look at one location, there's a maximum amount of sandwiches that you could ever sell in one day, and before you top out. Now, some friends of mine, they were thinking about starting a food truck, and I did not realize how expensive. Actually, I have a couple couples that I know that are either thinking about it or had thought about, like, the expense of actually building out a food truck's pretty expensive, right?
Oh yeah, you're talking some websites say between 80 and 100,000. I've seen some that you can get probably between 30 and 60.
Yeah.
It depends on what kind of equipment you want to put on it. It depends on whether you're going to buy a new or a used truck to build into. There's a lot of variables. I mean, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah.
Or what kind of equipment is going to be required. Like me, I know I want a 6-foot flat top.
Right. Yeah.
I got a 3-footer now.
Yeah.
If I had a 6-footer, I mean,
that much more.
I
right?
could make more sandwiches.
Yeah.
I could have 2 people cooking, or I could get 2 3-foots. I got these things. I got to actually get the chance to go and start looking. How much is this going to cost? Where can I put this? Okay, is this truck going to work? Do I want this equipment? Do I want a salamander? Do I want a range? Because I want all these different things to put in there. But I got to just actually get in one and start looking and hire somebody. There's companies out there that will build food trucks for you. Oh, yeah, online. You go in, you can work with them. You tell them what you want. They find it. They find the truck, and they meet your specifications, and they build it for you.
Wow.
Those are going to cost a little more. Those are probably in the $60,000 to $80,000 range. And once they're fully built out, you got to consider your wrap that you're going to put on it, all your branding and stuff. So there's another several $1,000s to get that kind of stuff done. So you're talking $80,000 to $100,000. I think is a reasonable investment.
I know that one of my friends, he was looking at a truck, and he said, if you're ever up near Pittsburgh, go take a look at this truck for me from a mechanical standpoint. And it's really old, and he said they wanted 20 for it, but he'd like to get it for 18. And I thought, that's a lot of money. But then that's how we kind of got on the topic of how much he said, no, that's a real, even at $20,000, that was a good price and this looked like a really old.
It was just a truck, or was it
It was a food truck,
okay.
but it looked like, just from looking at it, not knowing anything about it, I wouldn't have given you $1,000 for the truck. It's just not knowing. But he's like, no, if you have to replace the engine or whatever, but the equipment and having it all set up like that, it's $20,000 was a pretty good deal.
Sure.
And I guess it doesn't matter that it's an older model truck, because as crazy as it sounds, you can replace an engine for a couple $1,000s or whatever. It's the back of the truck. I'm a volunteer firefighter, and so the ambulances, people surprised at how much, the hundreds of thousands of dollars that something like that costs.
That equipment.
The cab is nothing. It's that box in the back that's ridiculously expensive.
Yep.
So I know that there, and that in itself is a whole new level of research. Because it's so expensive, you really have to take your time before you get into it. And, but then of course the portability's got to be nice to be able to hop in it and turn the key. And, I hated pulling a trailer when I was younger. And
it's a pain.
I
get to a festival downtown, it never fails. I could be planning to be the first one there, and I'm always going to be the second one. Somehow it works out that way. And I got this trailer, and the guy will always be in the spot where I need to be able to pull my truck up so that I can pull my trailer back into location, and he's always right in front of me. So I'm trying to parallel park this thing, and it's like, oh man, I can't get close enough to the curb. I'm 2 feet away from the curb, and it's like, nah. And then I gotta be like, hey, to the guy that's running the thing, I need a new spot. I can't get in. He's here. I tried to get here, before everybody else, and he still beat me here. So, and I'm just saying, he's just like whoever. It doesn't.
It could be anybody.
But then I got to go and take another spot, and you know what I mean. So it always turns. It's just a pain in the butt. So yes, a truck would be very welcome to just for those aspects of it for festivals and stuff.
Now, so do you have a? You said like you butter the bread at the house. Do you have like a little setup at home that where you work out of to prep and everything?
Oh no, we usually do that at the trailer, not at the house. Yeah, the trailer is basically its own commissary.
I see.
You know what I mean? So like we do all the prep work there and whatnot.
Everything's stored on site.
Yeah, I say most of the stuff is stored on site.
Yeah.
Some of the bread and stuff I do keep in my house is all boxed up.
Sure.
It's not refrigerated because I go through it so fast. But and we'll stay up late and sit and our little stations. I have a prep fridge that has a cutting board on it, so one person can sit there and butter bread, and then I'll sit at my other cutting board over by the window next to the grill, and I'll butter my stacks of bread. And sometimes it's me and my wife, or one of the other guys that helps me during the summer.
Yeah.
He'll come and we'll do some late night, drink a few beers, and butter bread.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work. It sounds, but it's fun. I actually enjoy doing stuff like that because I'll turn the music on, drink some beers, and just butter bread and have a good time.
And I guess there's something to be said for when you butter a piece of bread. That's your business. You're working towards your goal, and when you sell that bread as a sandwich, that's money that you're making versus buttering bread for somebody else or doing something else for somebody else where you don't necessarily get the full fruits of your efforts. Mm-hmm. Now, you said you did construction before this?
I've done all kinds of stuff, but the most recent job I had was construction,
Something about having, jobs. Did you like construction?
No, it was cool. I learned some stuff.
Sure.
I worked in an office trailer for the first year doing paperwork for them, and then it was an oil and gas company.
Oh, okay.
And we were traveling all over the place. I was working crazy hours. I was never home. Made a lot of money.
Sure.
The money was good, but I was never home. And it's like, I'm not home a lot now in the summers, and even now I'm up there every night till 8 o'clock. So I'm not home that much. But at least I know what I'm doing is I'm building something that I've created that is going to take me to places where I haven't been before.
Right.
And whereas working for a construction company, this is it for the next 25, 30 years. This isn't going to change. I'm not going to climb the company ladder to be the CEO of some oil company, and that isn't going to happen.
If they go bust or they get bought out.
Or they move to another state that's too far away to commute every day, then guess what? We're packing up and we're leaving.
Right.
Because this is it. This is life now.
Yeah.
So... yeah, I knew from the day that I started doing that job that wasn't what I was going to continue to do. I did it for as long as I needed to do. I saved up some money and said peace when I was ready, So some people just don't have the balls to do stuff like that.
I agree.
And their balls or guts or whatever.
Right.
But it takes a certain amount of risk, and it takes a certain amount of, guts to do it.
It does. I agree. And I think that a lot of people want that brass ring, but it sounds like you've had to sacrifice a lot betting on your future and give up, make less money early on with the plan that you're gambling on yourself, and that I think that's kind of the American dream. At least that's what it used to be.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have lost sight of that, and I'm certainly the kind of person where I'd rather have a job that I enjoy every day, and if it makes enough money to pay my bills, that's good, versus a job that I hate where I'm making 3 times the amount of money.
Sure.
And I think maybe more Americans are thinking that way, at least younger people, and I think even that kind of goes to the reason why food trucks are so popular too. People are getting back to a little bit more simple. They don't want the corporate sandwich that you get everywhere. They want that. I think of your business as an artisan vendor.
Sure.
Yeah, artisan food. And artisanal, would that be? Maybe
that sounds like the right word. Yeah.
This is an artisanal podcast, by the way, if anybody that's listening. So the whole DIY spirit, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on. A lot of the other guests that we've had on that have started their own businesses and are either musicians or that independent spirit where don't wait for somebody else to come and give you the opportunity to create your opportunity. And I think even if you fail a little bit or you make mistakes or it takes longer to have that success, if it's something that you build on your own, it's harder for anybody to take it away from you. And it's got to be more satisfying.
Oh, yeah. There's times where I'm leaving an event or catering, and I was scared. Like the catering in Cannonsburg specifically that I mentioned earlier, where we fed 300 people in 2.5 hours, I was scared out of my mind to do that. I was like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Can I do this? Am I going to be able to do this? If I fail, this is not going to be good. You know what I mean? If I can't feed these people in that short period of time, then I'm definitely not going to get hired back or by anybody else.
Yeah, it could have damaged your reputation, right?
And we crushed it.
Yeah.
And that was a moment of pride. Like,
absolutely,
dude, I just killed this, and now I know I can do this.
Yeah.
Now let's go do this a bunch.
Right.
You know, now I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And then you get excited to go to work. You get excited to even though I'm making a sandwich, you know, on a Tuesday night at 7:00, you know, it's not what I'd rather be doing, but I know that what it's leading up to, and it's a good feeling that gives you something to look forward to, something to be proud of, and something to say, hey, look what I did.
Yeah.
You know, because I create it. It's mine. I own it. You know what I mean?
You wouldn't get that feeling working in the trailer at the construction company with doing the paperwork.
No.
You could never in a million years get probably anything close to that sense of satisfaction.
Right.
And I think that the idea that that it all stemmed from like an idea that you had from you saw something and you had a vision and that I think the fact that it hasn't always been easy and I think this is a really good story for anybody that's thinking about starting any kind of business. And I think a lot of people are that, yes, there are some times when you're going to be making a sandwich for one person on a Tuesday night. You're like, what the hell am I doing here?
Right.
But you got to stay focused on that this is all part of a larger plan. And I think that nothing that's worth accomplishing is easy. And I even look at kind of this podcast, a lot of success early on, more than I had planned on. But it was also a lot harder to get started than I thought. And I'm still I want to get anybody listening, I want a studio. I've enjoyed traveling around with my case and finding places and kind of setting up rogue in different places, even out in public parks. But I think I'm ready to have a little bit more of a studio, and I wouldn't mind making a little bit of money at it. So if anybody wants to sponsor the podcast, give me a shot. But I do like the idea that I am building towards something. And I mean, luckily I kind of have a job that I don't hate, and I low cost of living. So it allows me to pursue something like this, but I'm still at a point where I am looking for that thing that's why I'm really fascinated with what you're doing, because I want to find that thing that I can kind of take off on and do the same thing where I'm in a little bit more in control of my destiny. I would love to do custom motorcycles and or just do anything with motorcycles. But at this point, I'm not a master mechanic by any means. And that's one of my goals, is to work on becoming a better mechanic. And hopefully at some point in the future, you know, maybe I need to go up there and talk to the Harley guys and see if they'll give me a little tutorials or something.
There you go.
You know,
yeah,
I'll come clean up the shop if you teach me how to rebuild a carburetor. So what else are you interested in? So we talked all this time about the business, but you know, the man behind the business. What obviously the business takes up a lot of your time, but what else are you interested in? Oh
man, hobbies. Yeah, I do a little bit of woodworking sometimes. I like to build things out of wood. Yeah, specifically. But I'm a dad. I'm a husband.
I didn't know.
Yeah, we have a 2-year-old son.
Wow.
2.5-year-old son, and I got one due in May.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. We're gonna wait and we're gonna do it old school.
You're gonna be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. So and see what happens. So, you know, that's a whole nother. It's not a hobby, but it's something that I extremely enjoy. It's very fulfilling to have a family, and my business takes up a lot of my time now, but the goal here is to not have it take up so much time. Eventually, where I can start delegating out jobs, hiring people to do the work for me, where I can start working from more of the executive standpoint of things and not necessarily just the guy making sandwiches all the time. Now, if it turns out that I'm still the guy making sandwiches 10 years from now, so be it.
Right.
But at the same time, I'll still have a lot more freedom to do things with my family that I wouldn't or that I used to not have. And, you know, I'm not bashing employment by any means. The world needs employees, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And
I think that is a good point. But for some people, they're very happy with, you know.
Exactly.
You know, and I think even for myself, sometimes I just have to show up there and I'll get paid. And and it's, when you're your own boss, the business is rules over you, and your customers are all your boss. And,
Exactly.
And so it's
I'm still working.
Yeah,
it's still a job.
Yeah.
I consider myself to be a solopreneur right
Yeah,
now.
right.
That's like a term, and that means I've created a job for myself.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
The goal here is to move over to the business owner side of things,
Right.
and then down on to the investor side of things. If anybody's read the book Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, you would know what I'm referring to. You've got a quadrant, you've got an S, an E, a B, and an I. So the E is the employer or employee, and then below that would be an S, would be the self-employed person. They're on the left side of the quadrant. And over on the right side of the quadrant, you would have a B up top and an I below the B, and so that would be business owner and investor.
Oh, okay.
So your business owner, you have other people working for you that make money for you. So other people make money for you, and the I means money makes money for you. But most of the people are over on the left side, and I'm still on the left side myself, trying to transition over to that right side. But the E is you work for your money, and you work for somebody else and make them the money and whatever. And then the S, you create your own job. So we're still over here on the S, trying to get over to the B, and eventually over to the I. Those are my goals. But it's a good book if you haven't read it. If anybody out there is like an entrepreneur type person and you're looking to start a business or grow a business or whatever, check out Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. The book that he released before that you may have heard of is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
That's his most popular. I actually didn't read that one. I went straight to Cash Flow.
Yeah.
It's more business oriented, but a very good read, easy read. A lot of stories and anecdotes.
That's awesome because you're very thoughtful about it as a business, and I think most people might look at something like the cheese melt and not realize that it's a serious business. And, and I had never heard that theory before, but that's a really great way to look at it because that gives you a lot of perspective and a goal to work towards.
Exactly.
And I think the fact that you've made thousands of sandwiches, that when you get to that point where you're the big boss and you have a bunch of other people making sandwiches, you look back and say, listen, I've made more sandwiches in my lifetime. So when I tell you this is how we do things, it's not because I just bought this business and I'm throwing things out willy-nilly.
Right.
I've been where you are, and I think that a lot of times the business run into problems where the people at the top, they've never done the job at the bottom.
Well, there's a difference between a boss and a leader.
Yeah.
And I don't look to be the boss of my company. Right. I look to be the leader of my company. Yeah. And the guy that leads from the front, not from the behind the desk.
I agree.
There's a lot to be said about getting out there and getting your hands dirty and doing it yourself first, and then teaching others how to follow in your footsteps so that they can do it as well. My goal is to sell franchises. I say I want to sell $100,000 franchises, not $8 sandwiches.
Yeah.
That's kind of my perspective right now. Yeah. It wasn't 3 years ago when I started. 3 years ago, I wanted to sell $8 sandwiches and make ends meet. Now I want to sell $100,000 and prosper and and thrive, in business and in life. So that's the direction that I'm heading. And
it sounds like you have a plan in mind, and I think it's really awesome that you have a specific goal, but and you have certain ideas of how to get there. But you're also been very flexible in your business to where you're trying different things to see whatever works good, and I think that is the downfall of a lot of businesses is they come up with an idea and they just ride that ship all the way into the ground till it sinks. And I think that it's anything that you do successfully, especially if it's complicated. And yes, the cheese melt business is complicated.
Any business.
That you have to be have your eye on the goal, but also the path to get there. Be a little bit flexible. I know when I started doing films, independent films, I just decided that I wanted to make a film, and I had no idea how I would accomplish it. And the way I always envisioned it in my mind is nothing like the way it turned out. But thank God I wasn't too locked into any one of those things, because when an opportunity came along, I was ready to see it as an opportunity and capitalize on it. And I never tried to look at any of the people that we work with as anything but people that I work with. And even, I would direct a movie, and then Jeff Madzai came on early on, and he wrote a script, and he said, "What do you think about directing it?" And I said, "Are you going to act in it?" And he said, "No." I said, "Well, then you direct it." And I was very proud of myself that I got my ego out of the way that time, and it's really worked out good because he's a better director than me.
There you go.
And he's also, instead of someone that works under me, he's my partner in film, and it's better to have a strong, for me at least as filmmaking, it's better to have a strong partner than to have someone that's really talented that feels like they're working under you.
Right.
And so a good leader does empower their employees to make them feel like they're contributing to their own good and to the company. And I think it's exciting. I think Wheeling, I would love to see Wheeling in general be known for cottage industries and micro businesses and small businesses. And I know that people would love to see some big industry come in here and save the day, but I think the culture, at least among a lot of the people I know, seems to be leaning more towards a lot of people that have that independent spirit and want to break out and do their own thing and start out small and see how far they can take it. And when I figure out my thing, I plan on doing it here as well.
Right on.
Yeah. So anything else like coming up in the future that you want people to know about, or anything that we missed?
Oh man, just come find me at the Highlands, guys, when you're up there.
Yeah.
We're not real busy right now, and you could also call in or text in your orders ahead of time.
Cool.
So we have that option, or you could go to eatinnow.com if anybody's familiar with that website.
Is that
It's a delivery service.
Oh.
So it's a separate business, also started here in Wheeling by a local Wheeling guy who is he just launched it last year, I believe. So he just recently had his 1-year anniversary with his business. He's doing well. He's expanding into the different areas, but he's providing a delivery service for restaurants in the area that don't already offer their own. So you pay a fee. It's like a $5 minimum fee to have the food delivered to you, and then it's like that's within a 5-mile radius. I think he might be trying to expand. Actually, I think he's lowering the fee. Anyways, that might be information I'm not supposed to give out yet, just because I'm a bit, because I already got it. But anyways, go to Eat In Now. There's 2 N's in there .com, and you'll see all the local places that are available for delivery. We're on there during operation hours, Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can pick from our menu, which is already on their website. You pick what you want. It goes through. You can pay online, or you can pay when they bring the food to you, and they call me, say, here's what you got to go. I go to the website, pull up the order, make the food. They come get it and deliver it.
That's awesome.
So it's great. It's a great idea. It's something new that Wheeling. It's new to Wheeling.
Yeah.
It's not new. It's an idea that he got from something else.
Sure.
But he made it his own here in Wheeling. So another example of a young entrepreneur doing something that he saw the market was lacking, created it, and made it happen.
Wow, that's awesome. I'll have to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, I'll give you his information.
Yeah. So the number to call for you guys would be
304-780-4858.
Awesome. Yeah. So give him a call, place an order, or just go up and see him.
Yeah, come up and say hey.
Come and say hi to Thomas, a hell of a guy, and a hell of a sandwich and a hell of a business, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Facebook. Find us on Facebook. We don't have an actual website yet. I'm in the process of trying to develop some content for a website and all that stuff. But we are on Facebook at The Cheese Melt, and when you type it in, put the space in between each word, and it'll pop right up. So put the space C, and it'll probably pop up.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where our presence is all on Facebook right now. We have I do live streams usually a couple times in the summer. I do them every day, but now I'm doing them, occasionally here and there, just to try to stay in front of the audience. But our menu's there, pictures of our food. Like I said, over 130 plus 5-star reviews. If you don't believe me, go to Facebook
read the reviews,
and see what they got to say. Yep.
And I think Facebook is a great way to even though I have a friend that says Facebook's the devil, which is probably not too far off.
It's an excellent marketing
it is an excellent marketing tool. And neither the podcast, it has a website that comes with the service, but that nor Independent Films actually has a website, because I thought that's how people access information. And so if I did have a website, people would probably find it through Facebook. And so I like Facebook in fact, it's the biggest reason why I keep any kind of other than to keep up with my friends. I don't really scroll through the news feed very often.
Right.
But as far as when we have a movie showing or a new podcast comes out, there's nothing better than Facebook to get it out there. And then I'm trying to branch out more into Twitter and Instagram because I think there are some people that are more interested in check those sites more often than Facebook. But Twitter's one that I'm not.
Me neither, man.
Yeah,
I'm the same way. I don't get it. I don't even have an account.
Yeah.
Actually, I made one, but I don't even use it.
Yeah, same here.
But it might have helped me, though, this summer when I'm moving around from place to place to just shoot out a little quick tweet and be like, this is where
we are. Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't seem like it's a very popular thing even in this area.
In this area, I don't think it is.
Instagram's the one that's coming up. Snapchat's kind of big, but I think it's not as popular as Instagram.
Yeah.
You got Instagram and Facebook. I hang out on Facebook. That's where I market.
Yeah.
You go where you hang out, essentially.
Sure. Right.
To get started, all the stuff that I read and whatnot and studying as far as marketing goes, because I got to market my own business, too. I can't afford to hire a marketing team.
Yeah, you're not just a chef. You're the driver, you're the shopper, the marketer.
I'm everything, man. Yeah, I cook, clean, market, do everything. It's from A to B.
Right.
Or A to Z, you got to do it at this level. And they say master one medium before you move on to the next.
Yeah.
So get used to using Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook ads. I run an ad for $2 a day. I spend $60 a month, and I've got videos that have over 70,000 views.
Wow.
On Facebook alone. I didn't even upload it to YouTube. I was just thinking that the other day. I need to put that shit on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. No, we swear on here all the time.
Oh, okay,
this is
good.
one of the cleanest podcasts I've done in a long time.
Oh, wow.
Other than the last two were local history. There wasn't too much swearing on those, which is appropriate for the topic. But we've had some where they were probably 50% swears.
Okay. I was on the radio
TV,
just recently, so I've got that filter turned on.
Right.
Most of the time, I'm wide open. But
it is. That's one thing nice about the High Valley is you can get on the radio if you have a small business.
Yeah.
You mentioned you're on with Steve, and Independent Films has been on with Steve in other various forms, probably 5 or 6 times.
Okay,
and then has WeLunk done an article on you guys?
They did a couple years ago. Steve did the article.
Yeah.
When we were downtown, the second year in business, the first year that I had the trailer that I have now.
Nice.
It was still all white.
Right.
No wrap or nothing. Nobody knew what I was sitting over there in
Yeah,
the corner. Like, hey, what's that? I don't know. There's like a little street sign that says, grown up grilled cheese on it, but it's small.
Right.
I think I might have had a banner made that said the cheese melt on it. I hung for a little while. But, yeah, he did an article then.
Yeah.
A follow-up would be cool.
Yeah.
Taste with Rach on Channel 7. She's done 2 interviews with me.
Excellent.
She did one 2 years ago during about that same time.
Sure.
And that Steve did the WeLunk article. And then just recently, just a couple weeks ago, when we first moved up to the Highlands. So she's done 2. She's done the second one as a follow-up.
And I think that's one of the nice things, this area, that it's small enough that you can get attention from the media, where if you're in a big city, good luck even getting anybody to
right.
Yeah, pay attention to you.
Yeah, you got to pay them to pay attention
to pay attention to you. And I think that we do have a pretty good group of people that are interested in trying new things and supporting new businesses.
Absolutely.
And it's a good culture now. We were talking the other night that my friends that grew up around here that moved away, as I did, and then I moved back, and I saw them in the high school reunion. They're like, "Where are you living now?" I'm like, "Here." And they're like, "Why?" I said, stick around for a few days and you'll see why. It's not the same Ohio Valley that I grew up in, and I think we're on the cusp of, that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast in the first place, is I thought that there's a lot of really great things that are going on here, and a lot of interesting people doing interesting things that a lot of people outside of maybe the smaller circle of people aren't aware of, and try to just get the word out that there are great places to eat, and there are people doing incredible businesses, and there's entrepreneurs, and that this is, you don't have to move to Pittsburgh or Columbus or Los Angeles to make your fortune. That actually this is maybe the best place for a lot of people to actually start on the path that's going to shape and change their life. Boy, I got real like intellectual sounding there, but that's pretty much faking it.
No, it's true though.
It is true.
That was
Yeah,
honesty.
thanks.
That came from,
Yeah.
and you're doing stuff yourself.
Yeah.
You've taken action, and that's one thing that I would like to say for anybody that might be thinking about doing something. You can think about it all day. It's not going to make it happen.
Absolutely.
You've got to get off your ass and do something. So take an action step, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Go buy a book and read the book.
Yeah.
Then do what the book tells you to
Yeah.
do. You can study and you can learn about as much as you want, but unless you do something, nothing's going to happen.
That is probably the best advice of the whole podcast and of anybody out there. I was a musician earlier in my life, and people, I wish I knew how to play an instrument. You got to play one. They sell them everywhere. They're not that.
Get a
at
cheap
the end
one.
of the day, they're
Get
not
a
that.
used
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Whatever. Get what you can afford.
Yeah.
I bought a $2,000 trailer.
yeah.
Because that's all I could afford.
Right.
And I made it work. I
Yeah.
made money with it. And then I got a bigger one.
And keep when I decided I want to make films, the camera that I had was a point and shoot. Like I call it a birthday party camera that somebody's mom would have, and it had a video function on it. It was like $119 at Office Max, and I had a computer with Windows Vista that had the free editing software. And from that, I said, well, this is what I can afford right now. And the only scripts I could have were the ones that I wrote. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do whatever I can with this. And then now we have I don't even think about how much money worth of equipment shows up on
Right.
these sites, and I'm working with some really great talented actors. But I know other people that I've met at film festivals, and they're like, yeah, I'm getting ready to make my first film, but I need another $10,000 to buy all the equipment and to hire the actors. And I thought, wow, when's that going to happen? Another 5 years from now? And taking action and not being afraid to fail and making mistakes. Somebody said one time that you either succeed or you learn something, that there's really no such thing as failure, and unless I guess you don't learn from your mistakes,
Or you quit.
The
only way you're going to lose is if you quit.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you get back up and keep moving.
Yeah.
I've failed. I've made mistakes. I've done things that didn't work out.
Sure.
I've gone to an event and not had enough stuff in stock and missed out on money that I could have otherwise made if I would have just stocked more stuff or had a better, or whatever. It doesn't matter. You learn as you go, and you never stop learning. Don't think there's one guy I listen to a lot, and he says, I haven't arrived yet. This guy makes multiple millions a year, but he still hasn't arrived at his success level.
Sure.
It just grows as you grow. And as long as you grow and you keep moving forward, then that's it. That's all you got to do.
And for you, as the business grows into the level that you want, there's going to be always new things to learn, because now you're going to move from learning how to just run the one truck to how do you manage two trucks? How do you do franchises? How do you handle multiple employees? And so you got a lot.
Your problems get bigger too.
Yeah, the problems get bigger.
I'm worried about running out of butter now, but in a few years I might be worried about an entire truck going down on me or something.
Right.
That. The problems grow too. They never stop.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
If it was easy,
everybody do it.
Yeah, and there would be no point.
Yeah.
So
it is. It's the challenge of it that makes it satisfying at the end of the day.
How can I win?
Yeah.
How can I win? What do I got to do? Okay, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, what can I do here? So we'll see. Just got to keep trying.
Well, I think you already have a great product. And the business is doing great from what I hear, and you're thoughtful about your business and flexible, and you got a great attitude, and you got great goals. So I think it's a winning combination. I'm sure we'll be seeing and hearing lots more about it, and there'll be hopefully a truck in every town in the valley, and and to just keep growing and growing. And when I figure out what I want to do with my life, I'll come to you for some advice on how to go to the next level.
Cool. Absolutely.
Well, Thomas, thanks for coming on the podcast. Everybody, this is going to come out in January. Go to the Highlands and go to the new Harley shop and get yourself an excellent sandwich, and follow on Facebook so that you know what's going on when in the summer, if the phase 2 is around, and treat yourself right to a great sandwich. And thanks for coming on and for giving me a lot of really good things to think about and educating the audience and just hanging out.
Right on. Thanks,
right,
James,
man.
for having me.
Till the next time.
It's been a pleasure.
See ya.
Yep.